Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse, aka BGFH, and I am back for kind of an updated video of something I did a couple of years ago. Back in 2016, I did a video on some essential iOS apps for people who are blind or low vision. And I think a lot has changed since then. I saw a post on Twitter from somebody I know who was like, "Hey, can people recommend some apps for a new iPhone user? What would you really recommend, for really good apps?" And I was going to share my earlier video with them, only to realize that's a couple years old and there's a few gems not in there. So you know what? We're going to do a June 2018 updated version of this video because, yeah, some things have changed and I'm just going to go through things a little bit differently. So this might be a little bit longer video, but I'm going to try to keep things fairly brief as far as each app. Keep in mind, most of the apps that I cover here, I have done specific videos for. So if you want to see more detail, you can go ahead and check those under the iOS Accessible App Spotlight video playlist. So let's just get right into it here. And I have VoiceOver on, and so we're going to pop in and out of several apps right now. We're going to go into some of my folders, just kind of take things a few folders at a time. Some of the apps I'll demo, some of them I won't, just because sometimes the camera doesn't agree with it, and my recording software doesn't agree with it, and some of it is just a little bit more too much in detail. But again, I have done videos on a lot of these already to some degree. So we have
blindness folder, 18
my
apps.
blindness folder.
Double tap to
and
open.
If I go in here,
Opening
there's
blindness
a lot
folder,
of different
blindness,
stuff in here.
heading.
So, especially down the left-hand column here, these I think are definitely essentials. We have in the top corner
KNFB reader. Double tap to
KNFB
open.
reader. So for those unfamiliar, this is an app that will let you take a picture of some printed text and have it read aloud to you almost instantaneously. In addition to that, and what people kind of forget about, because there are some free options out there that do the same thing quite well, the reason I still like KNFB is I like the way it does some of the text capture, but I also like it because it can also convert inaccessible images and PDF files. So let's say you get emailed a PDF file, which happens more than you think, like an image PDF file. You can also say, hey, share that to KNFB Reader. It'll OCR, basically grab all the text out of it and make it readable. So that is super handy. I can go in there really fast. I have a
KNFB reader.
Little case here that we're just going to see what it does. Let's find out. So I'm just going to tap
Take picture button.
All right, let's
take picture. Dimmed. File button.
The Ultimate Edition of Hyrule Warrior, newly enhanced for the Nintendo Switch free TCMU Edition Gfiniliv DF Literal Frinner.
Okay,
MR.
it got a
NRD
little bit goofy there.
Pada 1 Consort Nintendo Switch.
Save file button. Save file.
So you can save it.
Current file
I'm not going to do that, but
double tap to save the current document.
You can save it. And then you can export it as well. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with KNFB Reader. Again, I did a fully in-depth video on that. Let me actually, for performance sake, let's close that.
Mail, active, voice stream, active.
We'll leave that open
blindness,
for now.
Heading.
But
double tap and hold to start edit mode.
Shut up. Since the 2016 video, this app, of course,
Seeing AI. Double tap to open.
Seeing AI. I don't have to tell you how cool this app is. Those who have used it know how cool it is. Those who have not, let's just take a really quick peek here. This is
Menu,
a free
Samsung,
app from
IV.
Microsoft that
PRTC,
does a lot of cool different things. So right now, excuse me, by default, it's doing short text. So as soon as it sees any text,
1-2. Fantasy, the Ultimate Edition of Warriors, newly on. The Rule of II. Hordes of Alongside 8. Friend and split screen. Done. Nurture a fairy ally. Now with newly. The ND.
So
the
it's
Ultimate
doing
Edition
some
of
text.
Warriors. Channel. Document.
I can scan like a document. So if I want to do like a more full page, and the cool thing that it tries to do is when it extracts when it OCRs the text, It does try to format it nicely, so if it sees that, oh, hey, there are there's some larger text here, we're going to turn that into a heading so that maybe you, if you're using your voiceover navigation, you can navigate that. So that's a really kind of nice feature. Product. This is pretty cool. So you're in the kitchen, you're wherever, you need to identify something via barcode. I just grabbed something off the counter here. And
Processing.
you hear the do-do-do-do-do-do.
Pam No Stick Cooking Spray Original.
Right, so I have that on. I just grabbed that off my counter real quick. And so you can get product information. This is great, especially for people who work in retail. Maybe you got a BEP stand. If you're shopping, if you're bringing home groceries and you're just wanting to put them away and organize them. All kinds of uses for this. You know, I mean, it's not just food products. You know, like I said, this is cooking oil, you know, other household like cleaning items, CDs, DVDs. Actually, there should be a barcode, I think,
Menu button.
on said game.
Processing. Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, Nintendo Switch.
There you go. There you go. Nintendo Switch, Hyrule Warriors Ultimate Edition, which I really, really need to play.
More info, dimmed.
And there's no info on that one. But a lot of times, especially for the kitchen stuff, there's a lot of you can get like cooking instructions, nutrition information, that kind of a thing. And we're still in Seeing AI, guys.
Menus, channel, person.
We can identify people. So if I point it at some, you know, if there's people around, it will say like, oh, one person, two people near blah, blah, blah. You can kind of get an estimate of, you know, like, oh, this person, 23-year-old person looking happy or whatever. And that stuff is still kind of in beta. It can be wildly inaccurate sometimes and amusing/horrifying, but there you go. You can also take pictures and train it to recognize a person. So if you're swinging it around a room and you want to figure out where Bob is, so you can go sit by him, you can find him that way. So I've trained it to recognize me. If I...
Jesse near bottom edge 1 foot away.
There you go.
0 faces.
So if it was somebody else, it would just say person near, you know, near screen or whatever. So we can
channel,
run a people.
currency.
Currency. I don't have money right in front of me here, but you hold a dollar bill in front of it. It'll tell you if it's a 1, 5, 10, whatever. And it does recognize not just dollars, but other currencies. There was just an update earlier this week as I'm recording this. I forget even what currency that it enabled support for, but there's a lot of them in there.
Channel, scene preview.
Scene preview. This is still in like a beta. I tried this the other day. It still needs a lot of work. It is trying to tell you, like, you can take a picture and it'll try to tell you what the camera is looking at, and it kind of gets some of the objects right, but it doesn't have a grasp on relationships yet. It was like I took a picture of like a computer desk with a chair in front of it, and it was saying like a computer and a desk on top on a chair or something. I'm like, wait, what? No. So you get some really weird results with that, but they'll iron it out.
Channel.
And there's another app that I'm going to show you later that does that quite well.
Color preview. Brown.
So brown, yeah, there's my desk. We got a color. This was not even in my original video
Brown and yellow.
when I did this.
Yellow. Black.
Yep, black. Okay, yep, there's my controller.
Brown and black. Handwriting preview.
It's not bad. Now, I don't have any handwriting material. This mode was not in the original video that I did for Seeing AI either. And believe it or not, you know, I wouldn't rely on it if you needed this for like a job and you really needed, you know, to get accurate information consistently. But to get the gist of something, it doesn't like my handwriting, but a lot of other people's, it does. I've actually been able to read a fair bit of things with the Seeing AI app in the handwriting mode. It's kind of cool.
Light.
Ow!
Handwriting
Okay,
preview.
yeah, that's I think the last one. The light detector is like it'll go quiet, or like if it's up in pitch or whatever. It basically tells you how much light you have in the room. If I make it completely dark.
Channel. Light. Handwriting
That's really
preview.
obnoxious, so we're not going to do that anymore. That's Seeing AI. Again, if you other than the handwriting and one or two of the other modes there, check out the other video for that if you want to know more
App switcher. Seeing AI. Closing
about
seeing
that
AI.
app. It's really pretty
Mail.
awesome.
Active. Page. Prismo Go.
Prismo
Double tap to
Go.
open.
This is an app I don't know that I've actually covered on the channel. I don't remember if I have. If somebody's new to iOS and they can't afford KNFB Reader, because normal price for KNFB Reader, like I said, I still think it's worth it. I paid for it myself and don't regret it. Sometimes it's on sale, but it is $99. But to get started, it doesn't...
Page 1 of 2.
Prismo
Adjustable.
Go
Prismo Go.
is actually
Double.
another really nice app. Let's see
Prismo
how it
Go.
does with
Scene
the
description.
back
Button.
of this box.
Take picture. Button. Heading. Take picture. Heading.
And this just uses voiceover, I believe, here.
PH3 Ultimate Edition of Woo Tours. By Bach K9. Plus Rig AE. Versions.
It might have some weird...
Include to do El Contenido underscore Descargable to Lost version screen. Lucha Contra Horde is a pause. Button.
Hush.
Breath of the Wild game. Nuevos Trade. PH3 Ultimate Edition.
Okay, somehow either there's some other languages on here, or I somehow turned my app into some other language. What the heck did I do?
Upgrade to enable text export, smart interactions, translation, and handwriting recognition. Button.
So there you go. There are some extra features that you can update to. Now, I should do this soon. Maybe I will do some of that and revisit this app in a future video, because they are experimenting with handwriting recognition in this app too, and that's something that I just have been meaning to get around to looking at and comparing to Seeing AI. Hey, more content for a future video. Sorry that didn't do a great job. Maybe that was not the best thing to really capture. But normally, like I said, especially with like papers and stuff like that,
Swipe with 3 fingers to close the app.
it does a really good job with that. We recommend that all the time at work, and it works really well.
Digitize.
Digitize is another barcode reader. It's still a really good app. I don't know that it's as needed. I don't know what their product database comparison is compared to something like Seeing AI. But you take a picture of something, you get the barcode, you get some extra information, just like the product tab or the product channel of Seeing AI. We're not going to go into that one right now, but I have done a video on it before.
Money Reader.
Money Reader, and it used to be called Looktel Money Reader. It is now called Nant Money Reader, N-A-N-T Money Reader. Again, really great app, and I don't know as far as how many currencies it supports versus Seeing AI, but, that's the thing is some of these other tools, they're kind of getting... Seeing AI can do some of that stuff. But again, just because, here's the other thing I want to mention, though, as we go. Just because, Seeing AI does all this other stuff, and God forbid, some of these other apps might cost a few dollars. Don't discount them just because there's a free option. Don't discount KNFB Reader or the upcoming Text Grabber, which I'll talk about here shortly. Don't discount those just because there's something free like Prismo Go. Because... sometimes, it's worth paying for a certain feature. It's worth having multiple apps that do the same thing because, you could take a picture of some text with the same text with 2 apps and get different results. Maybe it handles lighting differently. Maybe it handles certain types of fonts differently. Same thing with products, or, they might have different products in their databases, more or less, or different ones. So, again, a lot of people are like, can I get something free? Can I get something free? Free is great, but please don't discount, especially if something costs like, $1, $5, so you don't go get fast food. You don't get a coffee one day, If it's something that you're going to use, support the developers, please. I just see that too often, and I have too much else to cover, so I'm going to end my little rant there. But I feel like I have to mention it, and it is appropriate for this type of video. Now, there are a couple of other
VO
apps.
Tutorial. Double tap to open.
Tutorial and
VO Starter.
VO
Double tap to open.
Starter. If you are new to VoiceOver and iOS in general, and you want to learn more about how to use VoiceOver, especially some of the advanced things, when you first start out VoiceOver, you can go through a tutorial that Apple has made, just, with some basic gestures. But if you want more practice, you want more things, there's a couple of different, VO Starter voiceover tutorial. There's a couple of those in there that you can do. I'm not going to go into those right now.
Sero. Double tap to open.
Sero used to be iBlink Radio. I believe it was called. But Sero is their, it's Seratech. It's their, you can access, if you're a Sero client, which used to be System Access Mobile Network, or SAMNet. They have a lot of different things on there. They have, one of the things that people really like is the audio files for many, many, many descriptive movies. So, you're not seeing the video, but you can listen to probably hundreds now of audio described movies and TV shows. There's other resources. There's some forums. There's some podcasts. All kinds of resources in there.
Page 1 of 2. Adjust page 1 of light detector.
Light
Double tap to
detector,
open.
again, this is something before Seeing AI added that update. You could have a light detector, but hey, Seeing AI, that one I think does a
Page
good
2 of
enough
2.
job.
Identify.
Identify. Now
Double
this
tap to
is
open.
really cool. This one I am
Identify.
going to open.
Settings.
And I'm going to
Unmuted.
unmute this because I know this one uses its own voice. This one you have to make sure that your device is unmuted to work. Now,
Select photo. But take photo.
I'm
Button.
going to take a photo
Take
of
photo.
some
Flash.
stuff.
Automatic. Button.
And
Switch
I'm
between
going
flash modes.
to take a picture. I'm going to take a picture of my Xbox controller and this game case.
Take picture. Button.
Let's see what it tells me it is.
Use photo.
Use
Button.
photo?
Use photo.
Loading.
Settings.
We'll give it a minute. Let's see what it says.
That is, Nintendo Switch Hyrule case.
Okay, it just focused on that. Okay, so it didn't, I had it sideways. It probably didn't see the Warriors. Let's see, Hyrule, that's pretty, the Warriors, it's sort of big, if you look at it, but that would at least tell me, oh, yep, that's Hyrule Warriors, because that would be something that I would be wanting to know. It actually omitted the controller, but go check out my app spotlight for this particular Identify app, and it's IDENTIFI, because it did a couple really cool things in that video that really impressed me. I've shown it to other clients at work, and again, it's just done some really neat stuff with identifying scenes. So if they could combine basically the tech in this for recognizing the scenes into Seeing AI, like if they put that part in this app into that, it would be amazing, because this one has done some really awesome stuff. So that is, it's got a couple of other features, but that's the main one that I would use
App
it
switcher.
for.
Identify. Closing identify.
IDENTIFI.
Mail active. Swipe
We're
up with
going to
3
fly
fingers to
through
close
some of
the
these
app.
other ones here.
A Polyvision. Double
AI
tap to open.
Polyvision. There's, again, a lot of these apps that'll recognize like scenes and objects and different things. I haven't played with this one in too long.
Access World. Double tap to
Access
open.
World. This is a really nice if you like AFB Access World. You get the monthly issues and stuff if you want to read them just on your phone. They have some really good articles in there. There was one, I think, last month. There was several good articles in there that I liked reading.
Talking Typer. Double tap to open.
Talking Typer. This was not out in my last video too. So let's say, again, a lot of times I work with clients who are in school, K-12 transition students, high school, and they really don't have a lot of, if any, computer experience. They just, for whatever reason, are not taught, which scares the hell out of me, but they're not taught computer skills. They're not taught keyboarding skills. Maybe they have access to an iPhone. Maybe they have access to an iPad. At the very least, if they don't even have a computer yet, we can recommend a Bluetooth keyboard. You get you can get a really decent Bluetooth keyboard for $20 now, in store or online. And this will run you through lessons and drills, and there's a couple typing games in there. I did do a video for it, so definitely go check that out. But this will let you practice typing on the go, provided you have a Bluetooth keyboard. And it's only $5. It's not bad, and it actually works really well.
VO Lab. Double tap to
VO
open.
Lab, I don't even remember what the heck is in there. It's been a while since I've looked at that one. We might come back to that one later.
Eye accessibility. Double tap to open.
Accessibility.
Envision, recently updated.
Envision, Envision AI. This is kind of another newer one that that comes out, that came out not too long ago, and it does a variety of different things. I still kind of, I still kind of have my favorites. I would say the main ones that I use for identifying things are Seeing AI, Prismo Go, KNFB Reader, Identify. Those four, I would say, are my most used and most recommended. There's a couple other ones I don't even have on here. Somehow I either removed them or whatever. You have things like TapTapSee, another identification app. You have Be My Eyes, which connects you to a volunteer, and they will help you, identify things. You can ask a question, and you can get an answer back. You have the new Era, which I don't have on here and I can't demo because, except for a few places like some airports and things, it's, I forget what the monthly fee is, but it's a nice chunk of change. I want to say somewhere around $90 or something like that a month. And these are not just volunteers. These are trained people that you can connect with, and you can work with them for a couple of minutes, or you can work with them on a longer task. And it depends on how long, how often you would need to use them. There are different plans and things like that, and you use these with either your phone, or they have these glasses that you can wear so that you can do things hands-free. I think it's a great idea. I don't know how viable, long term, how, like I said, I'm totally willing to pay for things, but, even let's say it was around $90 a month, that's a healthy chunk of change, especially for a lot of people are on lower incomes. And I don't think state agencies are necessarily going to fund that for a long period of time for somebody. It'll be interesting to see how that product progresses, and what kind of things happen with that. And it's, what is it, AIRA, I believe it's called AIRA, is the name of that app. And so, like I said, you can get connected with, you can do stuff with your phone, or you can get set up with one of their plans, and then you get their goggles set up. I do have a coworker at work who uses it off and on. He signed up for it or got into some beta or something. I don't remember what he's doing with it, but like I said, it's really neat. But I think there are some barriers to it. Ongoing costs being one of them. $10 a month or something. That's one thing, but
Screen
80,
dimmed.
90, $100 a month.
Page 2 of 2.
I could even afford that, but I have to think of whether I want to spend that much on something a month. So I can understand both sides of it. For some people, especially if you travel a lot, or if you do a lot of things where you're just doing all kinds of new stuff all the time, every day, and especially if you are totally blind, that could be still a really good option for you. For me, I have enough usable vision that I can usually figure my way out of it with OCR, with object identification, with magnification apps, those types of things. So I have, especially with the magnification and low vision, I have, some luxuries that a totally blind person would not necessarily have. So there is that. We have
Talking typer. Double tap to Envision, recently way around text grabber.
way around.
Double tap to open.
Text Grabber. This was one that I used before Seeing AI, before Prismo, before KNFB Reader came out. This app is like $4 or $5, and if you want another cheaper alternative, maybe you get Prismo Go, and then you get Text Grabber. I still really like the way it does OCR for documents. You know, it's cheap, it does a nice job. Text Grabber is not too shabby.
Closing blindness folder.
I
Blindness
do
folder.
have a
18 apps.
separate
Low vision
folder
folder. 10
here.
apps. Double opening low
Low
vision folder.
vision folder. Now this is where I put all of my Magnifier apps in it, and I have several of these. I'm not going to necessarily cover all of them
Low page
because
2
we'd
of 2.
be here
Mag,
forever.
page 1 of 2.
But I keep a lot of these on my phone just because if they update, I want to see if they get better.
Over 40 plus.
Over 40 plus. This is one that I have gone back to for several years, since like the iPhone 4S even, I think I started using it. It doesn't do a lot of the alternate colors, but the performance is good. You can go to full screen. It's a really nice, fast, simple app. I use it a lot. Over 40 plus. There's an iPad version called Over 40 HD. I wish they would just make it universal. But there you go. Over 40. I know it's a funny name, but there you go.
Vision Assist.
Vision
Double
Assist
tap to open.
is if you're looking for something I think that has a lot of good clarity to it. Sometimes you have to kind of play with the brightness and some of the focus a little bit if you're doing alternate colors. But if you have, especially a faster phone, I would say 7 or 8 or 10, this app is really cool because it's got nice big controls. There's a lot of color options, and when you do like a white on black or something, you can make it look quite sharp. Now, again, I'm not going to show these apps in this video. I did do a couple of videos a while back. I did a low vision apps video, and I did a CCTV magnifier videos or apps video revisited video, where I covered these around the time, a little after the iPhone 6 series came out. And a lot of them that I still use, like I would still recommend. So I'll try to remember maybe to put a link to that, some of these older videos that I'm referring to in the description below so you can check out. I mean, I'm not going to put a referral to every app because there would be a gazillion of them. Again, just go check out my playlists.
Magnificent.
Magnificent. This is another one that I think is actually quite good. This one is free, and you have multiple different color modes. The performance is good. The only thing that I really didn't care for it at the time is when you do one of the alternate color modes, like if you're doing, let's say, white on black, the black doesn't really seem as black as it could be. It's kind of like a washed out grayish kind of a thing, so it's not quite as high contrast as maybe you'd like it to be in some cases. But it's not bad. And the one you want is called Magnificent, and it's by Mobilica. I think it's Mobillica, something like that, because there are multiple apps that are called Magnificent, but the one you want is by Mobilica.
Supervision Plus.
Yeah,
Double
so
tap
then
to
we have
open.
some other ones like Supervision Plus,
Maglight Plus. Double
Maglight
tap to open.
Plus,
Supervision Goggles. Double tap to open.
Supervision Goggles. This actually uses like Google Cardboard VR headsets to kind of give you a head-mounted thing. It's a neat thing to play with. There's some image stabilization issues for sure, especially you zoom in, that thing bounces all over the place. So, it's not ready for prime time just yet, but it's cool that, they're working on as things get better. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Nearsighted VR
So
glasses.
we're going to just exit out of here.
Closing low vision
But
folder.
there are some, so I'll say over 40 plus, over 40 HD, Magnificent, and Vision Assist, all one word, Vision Assist. Those are some good ones, and again, definitely check out my CCTV/video magnifier apps revisited video for more detailed demonstrations of those.
Low vision folder. 10 apps. Opening books folder.
If
Books.
you like
Heading.
to read, there are a plethora of ways to read on the iPhone/iPad. An indispensable app.
Voice Dream. Beta. Double tap
Okay,
to open.
well, technically I'm running a beta because he's working on some stuff right now. Voice Dream Reader, I've done 2 videos on this. I've done like an early one, and I did one, I think when he went to version 4.0, where he added a whole bunch of new features, including one of my favorites. VoiceStream Reader is a reading app. You can read Bookshare books directly into it. You can put your Bookshare information, download books directly to it. There are tons of voices to choose from. You have my favorite feature, which is the iCloud support. You can go under settings. You can in the app you can go under settings. You can turn on Cloud Sync, and then any iOS device. So if you have multiple iOS devices, iPhone, iPad, which is beautiful, any book that you download, that you delete, that you read and make some progress in, everything just gets synced. If you get a new phone, if you have to delete the app for whatever reason, you come back, you sign in, you turn your cloud thing on, whoosh, sucks all your content down, and you're good to go. Love that feature so much. Not only does it play Bookshare books, it plays audio files, MP3s. You can basically take a ripped audiobook from like a CD where you have all the audio tracks, dump it into a zip file, not even unzip it, just copy the zip file over to the phone, and just it'll play the book within the zip file to save you some space. You can import from all kinds of cloud services, Dropbox,
VoiceStream.
iCloud, OneDrive, Google Drive, all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, the app is always updated. It's just a fantastic app. You know, Bookshare has its own app, but honestly, like I said, when I went to VoiceStream Reader, I never looked back. The other thing that I really like is it does a great job of, if you want to listen to a audio file sped up, I mean, really fast, it will not distort the voice, and it won't sound all crackly and like, you know, older apps on the iPhone would just have this really bad like AM quality, just lo-fi sound when you sped them up, and they don't do that anymore. And so that's the only reason I can get a lot of podcasts and reading and everything like that done.
Bard Mobile.
Bard Mobile, if you are a Talking Book subscriber, you get the digital cartridge, or you get the cartridges. You don't have to wait for those. You can just get a username and password, sign into that app, and download them right to your iPhone, iPad. Works great. And the interface is just like, literally just like the hardware player. Once you start playing a book, it looks just like, visually like the layout of the actual digital hardware players. Kindle. You can read Kindle books. That's a fantastic thing. I have tons of Kindle books. Actually, I need to go do a book bundle and pick up a few more myself now that I think about it. These you read just with voiceover. So you can go into a Kindle book, open it up, swipe down with 2 fingers, and just have it read all. Boom, you're going with voiceover. And if you're using it with voiceover, that means you also get Braille display support. So you can read in Braille if you want to as well. The only thing with Kindle that you have to remember is that some textbooks, because of some stupid publishers, you have to be sure that text-to-speech is enabled for that book, because while the app will technically support it, some publishers, especially of textbooks, I don't think I've run into a recreational reading book that has had a problem, but some textbooks purposefully disable their text-to-speech, and I still don't understand why. It just seems really stupid to do. The other thing that you have to know about Kindle is that you can't buy Kindle books through the Kindle app. That doesn't mean you can't use your phone to buy them, but Amazon basically said, oh, you want 30% for every sale that we make from our Kindle store? No. So all you have to do is go into Safari, go to Amazon.com or Kindle.com, buy the book, log in via the web, buy the book in Safari, open up the Kindle app, wait a few seconds, it should show up. If it doesn't, hit the refresh button. You got your new Kindle book and you can read it. You know, you can do it all on your phone. So those are a couple of quirks of the Kindle app, but you can read Kindle books just like everybody else can.
Audible. Double tap to open.
I use this app constantly, especially since when I covered this app originally, that was one of the apps where if you sped it up, if you sped up the voice, it sounded like complete garbage. It doesn't do that anymore. So I used to use my Victor Reader Stream for Audible books. I really don't anymore, because again, why download it to the computer, put it in a folder, make sure the stupid Audible software, which is weird and glitchy as it is, and then copy it to my stream or my SD card. I can just, again, just like Amazon, you buy it on the web, it shows up in your library, you double tap it, it downloads it, and in a couple of minutes you're reading an Audible book. So this is a commercial website. You can just buy the books, or you can do a monthly membership program, 1 or 2 credits, and they have all kinds of... The nice thing is, if you're a member, not only do you have, there are daily deals, there are member sales, there are 2-for-1 credit sales, there are get all these books, any of these books for $4.99, or there's always some kind of sale. So you're never paying full price if you're an Audible member. I wouldn't recommend just buying a book straight out from Audible, because a lot of them are kind of spendy especially if you're not a member. But it's still a really great service.
Goodreads. Double tap to
Goodreads, I've started using this a couple of years ago, and this is an app that'll help you keep track of the books that you read. And if you read an insane amount, especially like I do, probably not a bad idea to keep track of that, because sometimes I don't remember what I've read, or I'm trying to remember something that I have read. I'm like, what the heck was the name of that book where that thing happened? I'm like, I don't know. Want to tell somebody about it, and I look through it. They have a yearly reading challenge. So I want to read this many books in a year. You can set that up and keep track of your progress. You can organize books into different shelves, all kinds of different things there. It's just, if you're an avid reader, not a bad little app to do. And it's actually, there's some quirks to it, but it's actually pretty accessible. That one I also might want to revisit in its own video in the future.
Goodreader. Double tap to open.
Goodreader, I haven't really used that much, to be honest with you. I was going to look at it, and I just
Page
haven't
1 of
gotten
2.
around to
Adjustable.
it.
Learning Ally link.
Learning Ally link. That used to be Learning Ally audio, but this is, of course, for your formerly RFB&D books. But it's your Learning Ally. This is your textbooks, mainly K through 12. Some college stuff is on there, but probably not so much. I think Bookshare is actually largely taking over, because they have some textbooks as well. So, the app is free, but I can't ever keep track. They keep changing. Like, sometimes it's free, sometimes it's $100 a year, sometimes it changes. But you do have like a yearly membership for Learning Ally.
Page 1 of 2. Captai. Double tap to open.
Captai, that is another book reader that I need to really play with a little bit more.
iBooks. Double tap to open.
iBooks, of course, if you want to use Apple's ecosystem instead of Kindle, you can. Those books are also accessible via VoiceOver. And the only reason I have some books in iBooks, but the main reason that I choose Kindle for a mainstream service over iBooks is, right now I'm using a lot of iOS devices. But if you ever want to move to Android, if you want to open something up on your PC, if you want to open up whatever, Kindle, I can read on any platform. As far as I know, they don't have iBooks for PC. They don't have iBooks for Android. I want to have the content available when and where and how I want it. So I'd rather have something that is on multiple platforms. So those are just a few. Recommendations. But I mean, like I said, VoiceStream Reader, awesome. Bard, awesome. Kindle, awesome. Audible, awesome. They're all great. And those will give you more books than you could possibly
Closing books folder.
even hope to read. So you have things like that. You have books.
Productivity folder. 12.
Productivity, I don't know that I would say like essentials and stuff. I mean, you have Notes, which is built in. Notes has gotten actually pretty powerful. And that's just built in, so you have it anyway. A lot of the stuff I have in here are things like, I have the Office stuff. I have the iWork suite, Pages, Numbers, Keynote. And I have the Office, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, other few miscellaneous things in there. And, you can grab them if you want to, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time in there. I'm really focusing on like new users, blind and low vision, essential.
Movies folder.
Movies, I have a movies and a music folder. I mean, you have a YouTube app, generally works fine. I love Google Music, although they're actually I think they're getting rid of that pretty soon and merging that into YouTube Music. You have iTunes, of course, if you want to run everything through that, or Apple Music. You have things like that. Netflix works fine. Hulu is a mess. I think it works technically on the Apple TV, but don't even bother with the iOS apps right now at the time of recording this, because I actually just unsubscribed from Hulu because their app was a complete disaster as far as accessibility goes. And it used to work. So that's the sad thing, is they redesigned it, and boy howdy did they break it. I mean, there's a lot of different things in there. There's mainstream stuff.
Music folder, 6 utilities folder, 12 apps.
Utilities. I have a few things in here.
Utilities folder,
The main
12
one
apps.
that I really
Opening
like,
utilities folder, Speedtest.
Speedtest.net, or Speedtest. If you want to test your Wi-Fi connection, you want to test your LTE connection. There are times where you might want to do that. You want to see what your connectivity is. Is it a website that's broken, or is your phone being stupid and not making a connection? I put things like Dropbox, OneDrive, Google Drive, those types of cloud services. I put those types of things in here. Those are definitely invaluable, because you can't just connect your phone to your Windows PC and copy files back and forth like you can on Android. You got to use the iTunes virus, or do it via cloud services, and I choose to do it via the cloud services because I really don't like iTunes. So those are the types of things that I have in my utilities folder.
Closing.
Definitely, I would say invest in, even iCloud. But having things on a cloud service can be a very, very useful way to get documents and files and other data back and forth between devices.
Utilities folder, social folder, 12 apps.
Social, you have your Facebook, you have your Twitter. I don't know what's going to happen to some of these Twitter apps, because as we're learning, Twitter is removing support for a lot of their APIs that other apps use on PC, Mac, Android, iOS. I don't know what's going to happen to things like Twitterific or Tweetings or any number of other things. I've gotten used to using there's a few frustrations in it, but I use the official Twitter app, and it mostly works. There are a few issues when you're trying to tap on a couple of certain things, but overall, it's not too bad. I use that Twitter app all the time. So, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, it's usable, but I think there should be some improvements to that as well. So LinkedIn, that's more of a professional, at least that's the way it should be used, I think, is to use it more as a professional focused social network. You want to make contacts in your industry. You want to follow, if you're into, let's say, technology, maybe follow people in the technology field that you're interested in. If you're looking at working for a company, of names and stuff like that, you can kind of follow and try to connect with people. Maybe you meet them at a trade show or a conference. Those types of things, you build your resume in there. People can look at that. So LinkedIn is actually, that's also becoming increasingly important. Facebook, it's there. I can't tell you too much about its accessibility. I know people use it. I don't check Facebook hardly ever, maybe once or twice a year if I'm lucky. But it's there if you want to do that. So social.
Navigation folder, 9
Navigation.
apps. Double tap
There's
to
a
open.
few new ones
Opening
in here too. So
Nearby Explorer, beta.
Nearby Explorer. Again, I'm running the beta right now, but Nearby Explorer is one thing that was not out in my original 2016 video. It originally came out for Android, and the nice thing about this is, I want to say it's like 70 or 75 bucks, something like that. But what I like about this is that most GPS apps are internet-based, so you always have to have some kind of a data connection for the most part to do a lot of their mainly up-to-date things. This uses a combination of, you can download different regions like US or US and Canada, and you get a lot of your data. You can get a lot of your map data on your device. So even if you're in, I travel for work into, in this coming week, actually, I got to go to the middle of nowhere. I've never been there before, and hopefully the GPS gets us there. But if you're in a bad cellular area, you can still have the onboard maps, and it does a combination of routes, and it does some kind of monitoring what's around you. I have not done a specific app video for Nearby Explorer, just because, well, it's a GPS app. If I'm sitting in front of my computer, I really can't show you me walking around very well now, can I? It does have a virtual exploration mode as well, though, so if you are traveling to somewhere and you want to virtually explore like what's in the area, streets and businesses and things like that, maybe you want to find restaurants, you can do that.
Blind Square, recently updated.
Blind Square is another cool app that I like. This one kind of monitors what's around you and lets you know, and you can filter by what kinds of things you want to hear about. Do you want to hear streets? Do you want to hear different types of businesses? That kind of a thing. You can hear what's around you. Not really meant for routes too as much, but it integrates with other apps and services. It's gotten a lot more powerful over the last couple of years.
Google Maps.
Google Maps, I use this all the time, especially at work, when I'm basically the navigator for my drivers when we're traveling someplace. That works really nicely with VoiceOver. Apple Maps also works pretty well, but
Double
I've
tap to
actually
open. Maps.
So there's your Apple Maps. This is called Maps, but both of those work pretty well. But I've kind of really gotten to like Google Maps myself.
Go. Double tap to open.
I'm not sure what that app is actually.
Waze, recently updated.
Waze, I think I haven't really used that much. I think that's more for like traffic and stuff. You get like routes and stuff, and you can get like traffic updates. It'll route you around different things. Don't know a whole lot about it, but it's something that I've been meaning to play with more.
Otor. Soundscape. Double tap to open. IB. Soundscape.
Soundscape is another one you might want to play with. This is another freebie from Microsoft, just like Seeing AI. And it's kind of cool. It kind of does like a blind square thing where it'll tell you sort of what's around you as you're walking. And it kind of does it not just by like something on your left. It actually uses like if you're using headphones, it uses your like spatial audio, and you might hear something, if you hear something in your right, okay, that's where it is. I need to play with it a little bit more, but from what little I have played with it, it's not perfect, but it's a really cool concept, and for some things, it's actually worked really well. So, for the navigation, I would say
Nearby Explorer.
Nearby
Beta.
Explorer might be definitely worth checking out.
Blind Square, recently updated. Google Maps.
Google Maps, Apple Maps, and
Soundscape.
Those are some that I would personally recommend right now.
Closing navigation. Music folder. 6
Another thing
travel
that
folder,
I may
apps.
not have covered, I
folder.
don't remember on my 2016 video. I have things for travel. And this is, I think, almost just as important as my actual GPS folder. I have a lot of things in here that I use.
Travel. Heading. Uber. Recently updated.
Uber. Lyft. I can't tell you if your location supports these services. I do use Lyft more these days. But I can't tell you how useful these services are. If I need to get to work and it's downpouring, I don't want to wait for the bus and sit in soaked clothes all day. It's worth the few bucks for me to just, at the last minute, order a Lyft and I'm into work, no problem. Or if I'm out at a concert too late and the bus is stopped, or if I just want to go somewhere that's not easily on a bus route, or I just want to get there quick, Uber or Lyft, they're beautiful. I love using them. You just pay right through the app. You don't have to worry about cash. You rate your drivers, they rate you. I've had really nothing but good experiences with both of them. Yeah, I love them a lot. I use them fairly frequently.
Amtrak.
I do use that, although I think the app, I can't remember if there's some weird issues when trying to book a trip. But I do take the train home once or twice a year, so I do use that app.
Transit. Double tap to open.
Transit app. This one I really like. It shows you like the bus schedules and stuff.
Double tap to open.
If I double tap on it, I'll open this one. We haven't opened an app in a while.
Tracking button.
It tells me what buses are nearby.
87 Rosedale, U of M Saint Economy, UberX, 4 minutes away.
And it integrates with Uber,
61 East Hennepin Avenue, Larpenteur Avenue,
So
Arcade Street, direction. 61 East Hennepin Avenue,
61.
Larpenteur
So if
Avenue,
I want,
Arc show schedule.
If I want that, let's show the schedule.
Back button.
It'll tell me like what the schedule is. I can look at
5:52 p.m., 6:10 p.m., 6:37 p.m., 7:05 p.m.
It's actually really handy for looking up
App
a
switcher,
route
transit,
or
closing transit.
doing all kinds of things with that. And it's one that I really like.
My TSA. Double tap.
My TSA, if you fly, if you're going to go to summer conferences or see sun or just wherever, see family, I do find that this app actually really helpful just because, the TSA likes to keep changing their stupid rules on you can't bring this and you got to have that and this is banned and all these rules that you got to keep track of. It's like, can I bring this? I don't even know. There's a whole section in there that I use, called you can search for can I bring this? And it'll tell you if you can bring it on carry-on or if you have to package it a certain way, all kinds of nonsense that they go through now.
Curb. Double tap to open.
Curb, it used to be called Taxi Magic. I haven't used this in a long time, but it's basically like Uber or Lyft, but for officially supported taxi companies. I've used it a couple times and it's worked, but I've had the problem of the cab driver, when I was using it, I'm just like, okay, I'm here, cool. I paid through the app, and they're like, no, you got to pay me. I'm like, I already did. No, I use this app, and they just totally didn't understand. So maybe that's changed since I've used it, but that's kind of why I use Uber and Lyft more, just because people, if they're going to use that, they know what it is, they know what it works, and like I said, you don't have cabbies freaking out about like, no, you pay me money now. That's happened a couple times, so I'm just like, you know what? It's there if I need it, but cool. Those are, I think, some essential travel apps.
Super
I have
Shuttle.
a couple.
Tap.
Super Shuttle. If you're going for the airport, you want to take a van right there. I've done that before, but I've started even taking Uber and Lyft to those on occasion now, so I've done both of those.
Transit Tracker. Fly Delta. Double tap.
Yeah, so Fly Delta, Delta apps, kind of things like that. But I would say Uber, Lyft are really, really nice. Transit app.
Amtrak.
And then it just depends on what other services that you want to do.
Closing travel folder. Used travel folder. Shopping folder. 13 app.
Shopping
folder.
This
13 apps.
We could go
Opening.
on and on and on here, but I would say, Amazon and Amazon Prime. If you want to shop independently, if you don't want the hassle of having to go to this, a lot of times go to the store, find somebody to help you find a product, have you read tons of things on the shelves. I mean, for some things, yes, you definitely want to go to the store and buy them because it's just easier to do that way. But for a lot of things, you can do the research online. You can go to Amazon, and Amazon sells damn near everything at this point. I really like it because I can do the searching independently. I can find the products I want. I can read the reviews. And then I don't have to worry about how to get the bloody thing home. I just ordered a replacement countertop ice maker the other day. That would have been fun to try to get home on the bus or in a cab or in a Lyft or whatever. Instead, Amazon Prime, boom, two-day shipping. It's there. Sometimes it's even one-day shipping if you're a Prime member. If you don't care about fast shipping, if you order over like $35, you get free shipping in a lot of cases. Prime also gives you a lot of other benefits. You get a free Kindle book a month. You can choose from a few of them. You get basically some streaming music. You get some streaming movies a la Netflix, but their own type of library. So you get music and movie streaming. I mean, there's tons, there's just tons of things. I can't even go through them all, but, check out Amazon. Their app is actually really useful. I use it to track packages. I use it to order sometimes. It's a beautiful thing, and I spend way too damn much money on Amazon, but it's so helpful.
Prime Now.
Prime Now, if you live in an area that supports it, I've only used this once, but if you just need something like right now, and if you can find something that qualifies, you can kind of set a time. You'll pay a little bit extra for it, but you can get something rushed to you. And sometimes they'll have promotions where something will only be available at this sale through Prime Now instead of Prime. So as a Prime member, that's a nice perk that you can take advantage of.
Ticketmaster. Recently updated.
Ticketmaster, there's some usability issues with the site, but I have ordered using the app before. I do tend to go to, a few concerts a year or events a year. So
eBay. Double tap to open.
eBay.
Actions available. Blind bargains. Double
Blind
tap.
Bargains, this is, of course, a really nice site. You got the podcast, but then you got a lot of your classifieds. You can find items just, or even mainstream deals. You got your mainstream deals. So, like, you find all kinds of deals on different items. And then you, like I said, your classifieds is where, like, people are selling a lot of, like, assistive technology or mainstream technology or items, different things. So you got that kind of a thing.
Cub. Double tap to open.
Cub, this
Actions
is my
available.
grocery store
Pay
thing.
Cold Warns delivers. Double tap
Cold
to open.
Warns delivers. This is something in my area, but a lot of bigger cities will have something similar. I use the web more than I use the app. I haven't really even tried the app, to be honest with you, very much, but it's a very, very useful service. There are times I still go to my grocery store because it's the Cub that's close by. But a lot of times, especially if I'm ordering a lot of items and there's things that I don't normally get or that I would have to search for on the shelf, again, it's just easier for me to go online, search for everything, put it in my cart, and then just have it delivered. I mean, this service is like a $5 delivery fee, which if you order like $150 of groceries, $5, you know what, for hauling all that crap in, it's not that bad. So yeah, I mean, and especially in the wintertime when the sidewalks are all ice or snow drifts everywhere, I can't, I don't want to go to the store every 2 days, every 4, whatever. So having, grocery deliveries, there are national chains, and then you have to check out your local chains to find out if they have a delivery service and if they have a website, if they have an app. But those are things that you could take advantage of that are especially helpful if you are blind and visually impaired. Like I said, God forbid, especially if you live in a northern climate where you have ice and snow and you get literally dumped 10, 12 inches on in the middle of April, like we did this year. So that was not fun. But there you go.
Apple Store. Double tap
Apple
to open.
Store,
Actions.
you have Apple products. You want that you can reserve Genius Bar appointments if you have a problem. You can order their stuff. You can search for what they have. I've used it a few times to order things.
Jimmy John's.
Jimmy John's, I use that app. There are a couple of quirks still that they're ironing out with a few things, but I do order Jimmy John's at work from time to time. So again, I'm not going to go through every shopping thing, but I mean, think about, like, what do you do? Do
Closing
you
shopping.
use a certain store a lot? Do you shop for certain types of things? Maybe they have a website. Maybe they have an app. Same thing with my next topic.
Finance folder. 12
Finance
apps. 2 new
folder.
items. Opening.
Finance. Like, I have different things. Like, I have banks. I have debit and credit card.
Finance
I have
folder.
like
Finance.
credit card companies, utilities. My electric bill, my Verizon bill, my all these things. I used to do a lot of that on the web. I do it a lot on my phone now, and like I said, if I forget to pay a bill or if I don't have auto pay enabled, I'm out somewhere, I have my phone with me everywhere anyway. Oh crap, I got to pay this bill really quick. Open it up, log in. A lot of it uses, you can even enable Touch ID, and within a couple seconds, I've paid that bill and I don't have to worry about it anymore. I don't have to care. So banking, finance, most major banks, most major credit card companies, a lot of your utilities things. My apartment complex doesn't support, like, they don't have their own payment thing, but I got their address information and everything, and I set it up right through my bank. I did it on the web, and now I can do it on my app, where I just say, okay, right around the 20th of the month, I'm going to have the bank send out a rent check to them. I don't have to write a check. They just send it out, and I leave I do it around the 20th because they say it'll take about 5 business days. That way, even in short months like February, it should be there by like the 26th, 27th tops. And there you go. So like I said, paying bills independently, keeping track of your finances independently. Very, very helpful. Very helpful.
Closing finance folder. VR folder. VR folder. 19 apps.
VR.
Sports folder. 4 AR folder. 3 apps. AR folder.
None of these are super important. One other thing that I really do like.
Dark sky.
Dark sky. This is really helpful. And especially, like, think about it. If you can't see, you can't necessarily see if it's cloudy, if it's sunny, and maybe you have light perception, maybe you don't. And you want to go run an errand. You want to go do something.
Dark sky.
Dark sky is super handy because I did a video on this too, where
Current conditions, partly cloudy, 78 degrees and falling, feels like 78.
78 degrees.
Next hour, partly cloudy, nearest precip is 65 miles to the southeast. Button.
It gives you like a current hour. What's it going to do? You get a timeline breakdown.
Dark
Again,
sky.
check out my
Current
video
condition.
for the whole thing. But like I said, I love it because it'll give you push notifications like, hey, we're going to have some thunderstorms starting 20 minutes and they might end 15 minutes later, or rain for the hour, or severe snowstorm, blizzard warning for the next 2 days, whatever it is. It's just a really nice and accessible app. It's actually, I really, really like it. I've been using it off and on a lot for the past couple of years. It's $3-4, but highly worth it in my opinion. I really do like it a lot.
Sleep cycle.
Sleep cycle. This might be something you guys might like. I did a video for it. You can use it as an alarm clock, and you can use it to track your sleep. I do like using it as an alarm clock because one of the things it does, instead of setting a specific time to get up, you set like a time period, and it tries to monitor when you turn it on at night. It sets up a time, like a time slot where, okay, I want to be up between 6:15 and 6:30, or 6 and 6:30. And when that time period happens, it kind of monitors you and says, okay, it's based on his breathing or whatever. You can't, it'll be like, oh, okay, I think he's in a light sleep now instead of just completely zonked out. And so it'll try to wake you in your lightest sleep. So when you wake up and the alarm goes off, you theoretically don't feel near as groggy. And overall, I think it actually does work reasonably well. There's a few times it's been off, but most of the time it has actually kind of helped. And they have different like alarms that you can unlock or that you can switch to, different little musical tones or alarm tones or whatever. And there's some, like I said, sleep tracking stuff. Again, I did a separate video on sleep cycle last year, so if you want to check that out. Those are largely the apps that I would
Planetary.
recommend.
Double replica. Inks.
Yeah,
Double.
a lot of the other stuff is just games.
VR folder.
The large stuff that I went through, the blindness
folder.
The blindness folder. You've got your KNFB reader, Prismo Go, Seeing AI, Identify. You've got your low vision, over 40 plus, Vision Assist, Magnificent by Mobilica, all of your book apps, Voice Dream Reader, Kindle, Ibooks, Audible, Bard, Productivity, Uber and Lyft, your Google Maps, Blind Square, Nearby Explorer, all of your financial and all of your shopping sites. Again, mainstream stuff, accessibility may vary, but you'll find a lot of stuff actually is. And like I said, when I say independence, it's not just focusing on, these are the apps for blind people.
Travel
these
folder.
are the apps for people with low vision. A lot of the apps, just by their nature, can afford you a lot of independence. I mean, God, I use my phone for everything, It's really, really, really handy. It's makes being independent a heck of a lot easier. And one thing, it's not particularly an app, but it's something that I do want to mention. I didn't want to do it in case something went screwy at the when I tried to do this. But in the low vision side of things, I told you about the Magnifier apps. In iOS 10 and 11, and 11 is specifically, I like what they've done. There is a built-in magnifier that does a pretty good job. The only thing I don't really like about it is that it doesn't seem like you can go full screen. There's always some controls at the bottom. But if I am going to turn VoiceOver off, and if I swipe up from the bottom of my screen to bring up my control center here, in iOS 11 you can actually add a few different things to your control center. Magnifier, of course, being one of them. So if I hit my magnifier here, please don't crash. Okay, good. So I can look at my Hyrule War. Whoa, that's kind of really big. How about zoom out a little bit, because I have it maxed out right now. So there we go. You see, you see that the part of it is now, it didn't switch to landscape view on the video. So let me do it this way so that you can kind of see it. Yeah. So I don't know why it didn't switch, but hey, there you go. And, you can use the apps, but it is actually really handy just to have that in your quick, your control center. You swipe up, and then you hit your button, and boom, you got magnification. So I do find myself, I used to use over 40 all the time, and I still use it quite a bit. But I've actually found myself, because it's just so quick, to slide up, tap, boom, you're in. I use the built-in iOS 10, iOS 11 magnifier a fair bit. And I think it's gotten a little bit better in iOS 11 versus 10 as well. So those are some of the update. This is an updated June 2018 list of some of the apps that I would recommend for blind and low vision users for independence. If you have an Apple Watch, of course, you have the Apple Watch app. I didn't cover that, but it's in there. I do have the watch now, so I use that. But largely, those are kind of what I would recommend. Now, other people are going to have different recommendations, but these are the things as a low vision user that I use all the time. You may find your own workflow. You may find your own apps that you like to use for different things. But these are the ones that I keep consistently coming back to. And some of the apps are they're meant mainly for blind users, but you know what? They work pretty dang well for low vision too. So, yeah. Hope you guys found this video helpful. Again, I do have the CCTV/video magnifier apps revisited. You may want to check out that video if you want to see more of the magnifier apps like Vision Assist and things like that. And then, like I said, a lot of these apps, if one of them sounds familiar, odds are, for the most part, I've probably done a video about it. There's a couple more that I probably could do, like Prismo I could probably do. There were one or two other ones as we were going through that I might want to revisit again. I can't remember, but like I said, there's a lot of other videos that I have out there for this stuff. And if you're into gaming, I didn't cover any games here because this is, again, focused on apps for independence and stuff like that. I have 2 videos, essential apps for low vision users, essential games for low vision users, and essential games for totally blind users. So there are, like I said, there's a plethora of games for either category. I mean, like I said, I have a couple of things that on here that I haven't really tried yet on this screen, but if I go over, like this screen is all games. It's in folders and games. It's overflowing to here that I've got to look at some stuff there. I mean, I can't keep up, So there's a lot of low vision stuff. There's a lot of totally blind accessible, voiceover accessible, or self-voicing games. There's tons of stuff out there and more coming all the time. So check out those videos as well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you stuck with me. I hope I wasn't too boring throughout this video. Did a few demos for you, but like I said, there's just too much to demo. I'd be here forever, but I really wanted to highlight especially some of the camera-based apps because there's so many cool things you can do with them. And yeah, we'll wrap it up here. Follow me on Twitter at BGFH79. And until next time, I will talk to you guys again next time. Later.